Hey there, welcome back to the table. Okay, so the event or the encounter is set up. So we have these ridiculously overproduced trees, and this is almost like a come on game. The miniatures look fabulous. I don't have an issue. It's just it's so overproduced. So we have a brood mother, which you can see has like a bunch of rats on her back. And then there are 3 individual rats. They're sort of behind her at the moment. And they are here. There were 2 mystery boxes we got to open. And they basically just had the miniatures in them and nothing else. So just a reminder, the game recommends that the enemy uses the card decks. So we have those over here to the left. And for the battle, front and center, we have these commands here. And so the way you set this up is we take these broken wings and learn to fly again. So we take these dice and we set it to value 6. And we put it on each location. And so I don't know if you've ever played like video games before. These are like different sections of the rat that you have to attack. And if we destroy all of these sections of the rat, it dies. So from a mechanics perspective, there is a stage deck, which is here. And I'm going to scoot these over a little bit more. And basically the stage deck, we can put like right there. We're running out of space here. Because I need room, lots of room for my cards, and then this is of course becoming a problem. Another way we can do this maybe is this is definitely a table hog, this game. So yeah, we'll do it like this. So the stage deck is here, and because we're Oathsworn, I think thematically, I'm being told that, even though this is a really nasty boss, we do know what it wants to do. So it's going to, this is the first thing it's going to do when it attacks us, and we get to see that ahead of time. We'll get into all the details in a second, but let's look at this. So this thing is going to attack us with all these cards, which is a lot. It has 2 defense, so each one of these dice, when we attack one, we have to target the die. Then, there's going to be this defensive 2, and it's not a traditional game. Like usually when you play a game where somebody has 2 defense, you do 4 damage, you subtract the 2 defense, and then you have a net of 2. That's the way most games that I've played work. This one has a different mechanic. It's a divisor. And what I mean by that is if you do 4 damage, you divide this by 2. So then it would still yield 2 damage in that case. But let's say you did 8 damage and you divide it by 2, you're actually going to outcome is going to be 4 actual health. So 4 of these pips would be removed. So you divide it by this number. And so if this number goes up, that's a multiplicative. It's so higher defense really means a lot. And the same applies for us. That's why I was so obsessed with the Warbear having high defense and the Penitent having high defense, because I'm taking advantage of this multiplicative mechanic. All right, so the giant rats are the little rats that are around it. The giant is a misnomer. They attack with a lot lighter attack, but they have this mob keyword. And the mob keyword means that if you're surrounded by more than one of them, they attack together. So let's say you had 3 rats around you. You would draw 3 yellows and 3 whites, and you would add them all together. So that it can get really deadly when you get swarmed by them. And then their logic is they'll move 6 to its target, and the target's going to be just whoever's closest. And then they're going to attack the target. Each of them has only 1 health. And rats are immune to all broodmother attacks, meaning that they can't get friendly fire from their broodmother. Now, the broodmother herself is when she does release the brood, she's going to put 3 giant rats adjacent to her. She's going to basically spit them out of her rear, and as long as there's no characters in them. And if there's no empty hexes, then they just go as close as possible, 2 away or 3 away, etc. The rats move and attack at the end of the encounter phase. So, yeah, that gets into how does the encounter phase work. So there's a refresh phase at the beginning, and then an Oathsworn, so we get to take our turn. And then there's an encounter phase, and then there's end of round. So that's what we do repeatedly until somebody wins. Okay, so the encounter phase, like what it's saying, is that the rats move and attack at the end of the encounter phase. So during the encounter phase, this is going to trigger. So Broodmother goes first, and then the giant rats would go second. Now there's one more rule. When these dice get destroyed, then this is going to happen. It's called a break. So basically, she gets upset, and then she immediately attacks you. Like, she interrupts wherever you are in your action cycle and attacks you, and then this card's going to happen to you, and then it goes in the discard and you draw a new one. There's also some extra rules, and that's what this is getting at. So these cards are they're shuffled. Stage 1, and then eventually it goes to stage 2. So one way we could do it is we could just set these off to the side, and this is the only deck that's currently in the game, is the stage 1. And what it's saying is if she loses 2 of her dice, we move to stage 2. So whatever was face up immediately disappears and stage 2 appears, okay? Now, one other rule with this is that whoever does the breaking of the die, her target is that person. And she will ignore everybody else and go after that person. And that includes even if that person's out of range and somebody else is in range. But during a normal attack, whoever her target is going to be somebody in range. And actually, I take it back. I think if that person is out of range, it will focus on someone else instead. But the primary target is the person who did the breaking. Now, if you're using the summons, like I was talking about the Grove Maiden, and we're going to have these falcons, the summons aren't ever the target. It's always going to be the main person. So if one of your summons does the breaking, then the main person is the target, the person behind the summons. So here you could say she's going to release the brood with an extra rat, and then she's going to move 3 to the northwest. So north is that way, and then west is that way. It's a standard-oriented compass here. The board's not in some wonky direction. Each rat is going to gain 1 extra might card, the same as its highest might cards, until the end of the round. And then place this on the encounter board until the end of the round as a reminder. So basically, what's interesting here is the rats are going to be more powerful, and then she's going to make more rats. But if you'll notice, she doesn't attack. So the Broodmother's not attacking us this round, which actually is pretty interesting. All right, so the scenario setup, we get to start anywhere along the edge of the board here. And I can bring the camera closer. So we're going to start along this edge, and we just place all of our characters however we like. So the Warbear, for example, I'm going to set head on straight, and then the Penitent I will put next to him, and then we're going to go ahead and get our whatever he is there, and then she is going to be there, and then the 2 falcons are going to stay on her player board. So they don't go on the board yet, okay? All right, so the some basic cardinal rules. When the enemy moves, they always move north and then the northernmost and westernmost path. Now, obviously, if they're targeting us to the south, they're going to move south. But if they have a choice to move north and west, like if there's two different pathways to get to you, they're always going to go north first and then west second. So that's always the priority. And it never, you never break that priority for any reason. So now obviously you would stop going north and west if it means they don't get to their target. So they're always going to want to get to their target. But if they can get to their target in multiple ways, it's the northernmost, westernmost way. Okay, so that's rule number one. Rule number two, like I said, they always target whoever's closest. And I think I'd have to check again, but I believe we get to choose if there's more than one that's equidistant. However, they choose the northernmost and westernmost. Okay, so actually I don't even know if we get to choose in most cases. So the northwest rule applies to everything, even when they're targeting. So so if you want to be the one that takes all the hits, you want to be northernmost and westernmost. Okay, next up, when you're targeting these dice here, it does matter. Like you have to be in front of her to target this one. You have to be behind of her to target this one. The middle one, I believe, can be targeted only if the outer ones are destroyed first. And, you know, so if you're targeting from this direction, you take this one out, then you can target this one next. If you have, you know, equidistant between these two, you get to choose. The game does say that if you believe something just makes more sense, you can always move them in whatever makes most sense. So basically, they give you a rule that if you don't like our rules, you can just do it your own way. So that is actually in the rules. What else am I missing? I'm sure we'll run into it as we go. The end of round phase, I'm just making sure I didn't miss anything here. Yeah, so that's just any effects that would happen. So, so the refresh phase is pretty simple. Oh, I'm sorry. When we go into our combat, we have to take each of our decks, and we have to start the mission with 7 cards. Now, we got to see this because of our story mode. Sometimes you don't get to see, you know, these special abilities. But in Chapter 1, it doesn't really matter. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, what do I know I have to use those 7? See this little star here? That's the starter cards. This one, we have to be Chapter 2 or beyond to be able to play those cards. And then we unlock the next set of cards at Chapter 5, and then the last set of cards at Chapter 10, okay? Oh, I'm sorry, there's some at 15 as well. So that's how all the skill decks are. So these cards are not in the game yet. So we're looking at the Penitent deck right now. So all of them start with 7 cards. There's always a 0 card, 2 1 cards, 2 2s, and 2 3s. And the way this works is you're going to play a card and you're going to pay the cost that's written here. Now that has a question mark because there's variable costs. Each of these lines represents a different action. You only get to choose one. At any point when you're being attacked, you can always play the card for the defense value at the bottom. That's free. It costs you no animus to do. And it has a little symbol here to show that. It has like a little X through it. And yes, now the numbers here represent your board. So let me bring you over to here. I know I got all these tokens from our story mode in the way. So let me just push those out of the way. All right, so on your board, you can see there's a 0, there's a 1, a 2 up here, and a 3. So if you play this card, it goes into your 0 pile. And if you play this card, which has a 3 on it, it goes into your 3 pile. And then they have what's called a battle flow. So this card has to move to the 2, to the 1, and then to the 0 before it comes back in your hand. During the refresh phase, anything that's at 0 automatically comes into your hand, but everything else does not move. I know there's a temptation to think, well, that's time. So when you go to the next round, everything's going to just rotate. And no, that does not happen. The only way to rotate is if I play another 3 here, Now that triggers both of these to move to there. So I have to play another card of the same number to battle flow the card. Or if you look at the 0 card here, there is a mechanic that says battle flow 1 card. So you can pick any 1 card and move it. Now, when you battle flow from here to here, even if there were cards already here, it doesn't battle flow again. It doesn't chain react. It's just a one-time thing. And it's based on the card that you played. So, so there's a mechanic here of how do you get your cards back after you play them? Well, you got to battle flow them. And so it's a very interesting mechanic, and I don't know, I definitely don't have this strategy down yet, but basically that's the deal. And we'll talk about more of like what does each card do and all that stuff, because that's analysis paralysis mode. But just understand that the Penitent has these cards in his hand, and then we're going to move to, so the Warbear, same deal, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and they're all distributed the same. They all have 2 1s, 2 2s, and 2 3s. So we're going to go ahead and we'll look at the cards in a second. Whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so the Hunter, I'm just doing her deck right now. And now the Harbinger. Andrew's deck. All right. Okay. All right. So what does refresh do? Well, it's 2 primary things. The first thing that refresh does is you can see that the regen is 6. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 are available. And if I don't spend all of these, they do stay there, and then 6 more come over. Now, there's only 2 here, so I should at least spend 4 of them if I want to maximize my regen. And I don't think we're going to have a problem spending 4, to be honest. And then one other thing, when we did our story mode, we chose that we're going to protect the innocent, so our defense token is permanently at 1. So what that means is we go over here and everybody starts the mission with a defense token. So 1, 2, 3, 4. So I'm just giving one of these to every character. And those defense tokens, in my opinion, are going to be extremely valuable. But we'll go from there. One last thing. I know we talked about the timer. And the timer did eventually update to 10, which means we don't get the extra unique item. JB, of course, always supportive, did say that if I just flipped the table and decided to start the game over again and did the exact same actions with the exact same dice results, all I had to do was skip the archive and I would have that extra item unlocked. And so, it's your solo game. You play it how you want to play it. I think if I weren't doing the YouTube channel, I would do exactly that because I want that extra item. However, and then this is a little bit on the spoiler cheater side, when I was setting up the encounter, I got to see the notes of what happens when we win the encounter. And if we have over a certain number of hit points, we actually get this extra item anyways. So, and it's not in addition to this, it's just one time. Actually, that part's really cool. So if we don't lose a lot of hit points, we could still get it. I don't remember exactly how many hit points it was. I guess I should have cheated better. But I do know that there is an opportunity to still get it. So my question would be, do you get to gain 2 extra? One from the story and then 1 from the encounter. That part I don't know because the encounter says that you check the box. And so, remember the story lets you check the box, the unique item box, and the encounter also lets you check this box. So I would suggest that it does not mean you get 2. You're only getting 1 because there's only 1 box to check. So that's why I'm saying, so if we don't lose a lot of hit points on this is my first time doing this. The chances of that happening are probably near 0, but we're going to give it a try. I mean, it helps that the rat broodmother thing is not attacking us very much in the first turn here. But yeah, allegedly, if we have our hit points, we're going to be doing great. Okay, so with the refresh, that happens, and then anything that was in our 0 battle flow would come back to our hand. I'm going to go ahead and do the regen for everybody else. The Warbear gets 6, 2, 4, 6. And then we're going to come over to Andrew here. He gets 7. So 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then the Jagaria, 2, 4, 6. Okay, so that's our situation. And be mindful, we do have battle tokens to use. There's a lot to keep track of. And I think controlling 4 characters like this might be more than I bargained for. But we're going to go ahead and try it. All right, so who goes first? It is any order we choose. And so one other thing I wanted to make sure. These decks, like, do they refresh or do they stay spent like that? I know the rules address it, but now I'm trying to find it, and of course I can't. So let me pause real quick and check on whether that deck gets shuffled again. So the answer is yes. At the end of each story, they reshuffle. So we're going to take this deck and reshuffle it. And again, we have the dilemma of, do we use dice? I almost wish they didn't give me that dilemma, because that gives me AP every time. But I do understand the whole concept. If there's 6 blanks in here, you're really mitigating the deck in a way where you want to manipulate it so if you know there's no blanks left in this deck, you save that for when you really need a big hit. It makes sense. It really does. But yes, it definitely throws me for a loop. So I think I'm going to start with the Huntress because she has ranged attack. Now, I know I have to do a lot of this with the camera, right, to move back and forth. But just to refresh, we're going to pick up her cards, and we'll go over those in a second. She has 2 falcons that are on her board right now. She has this bow that just says when she attacks, she can spend Animus to add 2 range to the attack for each Animus spent. And then she's not a companion, so we're not worrying about that. And her range is naturally 4. Okay, so she can hit from any range as long as we're willing to spend tokens. And of course, she has a might here. She has a defense of 2, and then she has a shield, 2 Animus token. She has the ability to empower one of her attacks, and she can reroll or redraw a card. So if we draw 2 blanks, she can choose to reroll one of them. So that's her. This is not ideal because there's not a lot of room for cards as we're battle flowing, but I'll make it work. Don't worry. Okay, so I want to start with her because she has range attack, and also her falcons do things. And so I want to see what we can do. I don't have her cards memorized so well that I remember what she does, but I think some of her falcons like help other people to get bonus movement. Every movement point costs 1 Animus. So if I want to move 3 spaces, I got to spend 3 of my Animus. So I have some melee guys here who are far away from their target, and I want to maybe get them closer. So that's what I'm looking at. I do want to look real quick because like sometimes they can jump. See, up to 2 friendly characters may move up to 2. So Fear Roar, let's see, this one is a AoE attack. And yeah, so the bear definitely needs help getting up there. And I'm looking at the Penitent real quick. Also has an arc. Some of these are exactly the same. Yeah, so both of them need help moving to their target. So we're going to go ahead and look at her now. So we have our Wind Strike, which has a whole bunch of stuff. We're going to just hold on that one. Send 1 or 2 falcons to friendly characters. Each friendly character with a falcon on them may move 2. and you can only have one falcon move per character. So we can do this. It costs 4 gems. That's the only issue. It's a big cost, but we can give everybody 2 movement points if we do that. So we're going to set that aside. This one, we move 1, but only for using a melee weapon. Send 2 falcons on you to a target and turn them to face any direction. So the falcons can face, any direction on the target. Then we get to attack, and the target gains a bleed. And if the target has 2 or more bleed, remove 1 and they lose a health. So we can put the targets on the enemy. So it's interesting how you got these 2 different ones. And then here, target a character with range 5. Send falcons to the target. If they're a friendly character, they may move X. If they are an enemy, they suffer knockback X in any direction. X is equal to twice the number of falcons on them. So, so the character that we target can be the warbear, and I can send 2 falcons to the target, and then they can move that many spaces. And if they're an enemy, then they get knocked back. Basically the crows make them go backwards. And it's twice the number of falcons. So if I send 2 falcons to the warbear, I can give them 4 movement points. So that's also a good one. A little bit redundant with the other one, but also understand that the other one, we give them movement points and then we get to attack. So this one, there is no attack. However, we can ignore this and then just do a plain attack. Right, so there's 3 options with this one. And then, let's see, target any enemy. Send a falcon on you to the enemy. The falcon attacks the target. The falcon has your might, but only draws 4 cards. The attack cannot miss, but may critical. That's really nice. And then we got hinder and flight of feathers, etc. So there's more and more and more. This is a reaction. And then for each falcon on an enemy, redraw one of their might cards. So we can make them, if they drew a really nice might card, we can make them draw another one. If a blank is drawn, one of the falcons returns to you. But it did its job. And then here you can see move 1, send up to 2 falcons on you to new targets, attack them. This also attacks any enemies within range 5 with a falcon on them. Each enemy can only be targeted by this attack once. You may draw a maximum of 4 might cards. You attack once, it applies to everybody. You cannot miss, and you may critical. So these are really nice, because if you have falcons on different targets, you can attack 3 targets at once with this, and you, no matter what, you can't miss. So these are great ones to have whenever you know there's a lot of misses still in the deck. And then, of course, we can send a falcon, we can battle flow, we can do an attack with a bow, and then we can even refresh the might decks, which is interesting. Okay, so I'm looking at 2 things here. I think we can send 2 falcons to the warbear and get them to move 4 spaces, which will take it right up to what's her name, the broodmother. Our turn is not over. It's not you just play 1 card and then you're done. You can play as many cards as you want. And we can even play 1 card and then switch to another character and let them go, and then play another card later. So one thing to understand, though, is if the falcons are on the warbear, this says 1 or 2 falcons on you to friendly characters. So I can't do this. Because now the falcons are on the warbear, they're not on me. So sometimes you need to be able to return the falcons back to you. And I think that's where, or you can do this, where you can send 1 falcon to a new target. This you only get to do once, because then the card's spent. But that's some of what you're going to have to manage here. Also, this one says on you, right? So I can't do this either. But sometimes it does not say on you. It just says send the falcons. This one's on you. On you. Oh, they're all on you, aren't they? Yes, they are. Okay, so if we put them on the Warbear, we're stuck. All right, I thought I read something else. Let me refresh something. 1 second. Okay, so the rules on the Falcon Huntress, the Jagaria, clearly say that if it says on you and you don't have them on you, you can't do the action. So that part's true. Now, there was one exception here. There was one that said you can send none. And it says send up to 2 on you. So, like, that's more of a may. And it says the targets any enemies within range 5 with a falcon on them. So here's our biggest dilemma. If we put the falcons on the Warbear, they're not on the enemy. And so then we would have to figure out how to get the falcons back to us so we can put them on an enemy. So that's going to be our dilemma with playing this character, and it's probably why they're a 5 complexity. But I still want to get the Warbear into the action. So, and then you can see this card says send up to 2 falcons to new targets. This costs -2. So, see, this normally costs 4. I can spend 2 to do this. So I got to be mindful. There's right here, send up to 2 falcons to new targets. This costs -1. So we can do it. You just have to look at the other actions on the card. And actually, that's not so bad then. And we wanted to do... So this one would give both characters 2 movement. The Warbear would be 2 closer. Yeah, we're going to do Hunter's Call. And so this is a 1. So just sometimes I'm going to be doing this off camera because I don't want to move the camera all the time. But just to help you, the 1 means it's going to go here. So it goes next to the 1 location. And I do get to do an attack with this one. And I get to send it to 2 characters, and they each get to move 2. And then I get to also do an attack. So I'm going to put 1 on the Penitent and 1 on the Warbear. So they both get to move 2 spaces. And let's do exactly that. So Warbear is going to charge 1, 2 right towards the target. And the Penitent's going to be right next to him, right by his side. So that's what we're going to do. Okay, now we get to do an attack. So we look at our situation here. We are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 spaces away from being able to hit it. This is the front, and then of course the side is, over there. So, so we're 5 spaces away. Our range is 4. First of all, our action costs 4 of these cubes. So we're down to 2 cubes. I can spend 1 more to add 2 range to my attack, and then I can get an attack in. And I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to spend 1 more to add a range, and then we're going to attack on the left side of this thing. And so I'm going to attack this right here. Okay? So now we do a might, and our might means we get to play a yellow and any number of whites, or we can roll 1 yellow and any number of whites. And then I have some other abilities, which I'm thinking I want to just go ahead and use now. So I will. I'm going to use this now. This is an empower ability, and we're playing this. Remember, if you don't use it, you lose it. So this means I get to empower 3 cards. So I'm going to empower a white to a yellow, another white to a yellow. So that's 2 of my empowerment. And I'm going to empower the yellow to a red. So I have those 3. And then I can still do as many whites as I want. And we're going to go ahead and draw 2 white cards. Now, if I get 2 blanks here, I'm screwed. But I'm hoping that these are going to be nice, juicy numbers. Okay? So that's what I want to do, and I hope it works. Now, if I fail, and I miss, there's this thing called the determination rule. The determination rule is I get all these tokens back. So there is something, like if you miss, you get all the tokens that you spent back, and you actually gain another token, I believe. We'll look it up real quick. But the game rewards you because you're determined to not fail again. You know, it's that kind of thing. And so it also prevents you from being so worried about missing all the time. All right, so we're going to go ahead. We're attacking the side, and let's reveal. So we got a 1. Excellent. Another 1. Ooh, a 3. It's playing off. That's a crit 3 and a miss. Extremely happy. We did not miss. This attack is going to happen. So that means this is permanently gone. And this is a crit. And I can draw another card, or I can just roll a die. And for the crits, I'm going to roll. So here we go. And I rolled another 3, just like that. So this is 3, 6, 9, 10, 11 damage. Now remember, the Broodmother has a defense of 2. So 11 divided by 2 is 5. You always round down. So we just did 5 actual damage to it. So this 6 drops down to a 1. Like so. If I could have added one more hit to this, that would have been great, but there's no... I don't have any ability to do that. I could have used my reroll to reroll this, which could have added more damage because, you know, what's the chances of another miss? And then I would have actually destroyed this die. I don't know. I'm going to hold on to my reroll for now because obviously there's going to be more opportunities as we continue. And I'm not going to kill this thing in one round. So let's be a little methodic here and not use all of our tokens at once. But I think that was a great first turn. I could be totally wrong, but it seemed great to me. All right, so that's it for the Huntress. I don't think I do want to play my 0 card, because you should always play your 0 card, by the way, because you get 0 cards back at the refresh phase. So looking at this, we do have some tokens left. And so I could battle flow a card to get that card back. Or I can send 1 falcon to a new target. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to send 1 falcon to a new target, and that's going to cost me 1. And so once again, just to point out, since it's a 0, it's going to go into the 0 spot. If I battle flowed this, that would have gone here. That does cost me 1. And I'm going to take the falcon that was on the Penitent, and we're going to put it on the Broodmother. Like so. All right, so that's all the actions for her. I still have the 2 Animus token, which I could use to gain 2 Animus, but we don't need to do that now. I don't, well, let me check. Do we want to do another action? So like this costs 2. This would let me, it actually only costs 1. It would let me send falcons to new targets. And then I'd be setting it up so that way we could put some bleed effects on. This is interesting because that would, so the target gains a bleed, and if the target has 2 or more, remove 1. So this one, I think over time, you can get them to start losing some health. This is where the falcon attacks the target and can't miss. Like, these are the ones we want to use. We want to use stuff like that. So we can attack targeting any enemies with a falcon on them. Each enemy can only be targeted by this attack once. Yeah, that's a really nice one too. Yeah, so we want to do those, but I don't think we need to do them now. So we'll go ahead and call her turn done. So next up, I want to do the Warbear, and we're going to try to attack the front die here. And so we had that card that lets lets you move up to 2, or you can gain an empower token. See, and then you move 2. So up to 2 friendly characters may move 2 or gain a power token, then you move 2. So that's an excellent card. I think we want to do that one. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else. Yeah, we're going to do that. That costs us 3. So 1, 2, 3 gets spent. And the then you move 2. We're going to do that first. I know that's not the order you're supposed to do things, but I know I want to move here, for example. And we got to be really careful because the miniature is so big that it partially covers some. So it looks like I only needed to move 1, and I'm already facing the rat. So the 2 friendly characters, I'm going to move the Penitent 2 to there, and then somebody else is going to get an empower token, and I'm going to give that to the Huntress, the Jagaria, and because she just spent 1, so we're going to give her 1 back. So there we go. And remember, that was before I moved, so everybody was within range 3, and that is a 1, so it goes next to the board. So now I want to consider actually getting an attack in on the rat. So let's figure out what to do here. The swipe is not helpful until the other rats are nearby. This is an interesting one. This is a attack. If the target is normal size and loses any, then you get to throw them. We don't want to throw anything. Not a lot of attacks on the bear. That's the one thing I didn't know if I would like about the bear. I mean, there's attacks at the bottom that does cost extra gems to do. Let's see. Oh, there's a move 2. Or we could just play this for just a straight up attack instead of battle flowing a card. I don't know. I mean, I do have 3 gems, so I could spend 3 to do a straight up attack. The attacks for this guy are very few and far between. I'm actually going to do a bite. So it does cost 2. I mean, that is nice, being able to ignore the enemy's might cards. That could save us a lot of trouble. No, I don't want to use these. I want to save these. Now the toss, the target is not normal size, so I won't be able to do the text here. Where I toss them, and if they land on somebody, they get knocked back. But I could just straight up do an attack, but see, that costs 4. I could use my Animus token to get 2 more. And I think I'm going to do that. So this is going to be a 2. So the way this works is the card, we're running out of table space here. So this goes here on the 2. I'm going to spend this Animus token to gain 2, and then I'm going to spend 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, like so. And the token is permanently gone. And we're going to do it just a straight up attack. There's no bonus to the attack or anything. And I'm just going to lay the cards down here. Just a reminder that the so this one, when we draw a critical during an attack that hits, we get to draw 2 additional cards instead of 1. All right, so they have a yellow, and then as many whites as they want, and then also have a empower there. So I'm going to do a similar thing. I'm going to do a yellow, and then I'm going to empower to a red and 2 whites. So we're going to try the same kind of attack. We only drew a blank with the red. I didn't check to see how many blanks are in each of these decks. We know there's 6 in the white deck. I think there's 6 in every one. So there's a good chance that we're going to draw some blanks here, but we're going to try it. And what else can I do? So we're spending an empower token, but remember, we have determination, so we could get it back if we miss. So let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to reveal. There's a blank. There's another blank. We're already done. Then there's a 3 and another blank and a 2. So this was horrible. So with 3 blanks, I have 1 redraw, but I can't make 2 blanks go away. So we're going to trigger the determination rule. There was a complete miss by the Warbear. And the determination rule is in a black box on one of these pages here. Let me find it. If after redraws one of your attacks misses, you gain any combat token of your choice to represent you becoming more determined to succeed next time. In addition, you regain all of your tokens you spent for the attack. So, so we're going to get this empower back, and then we gain another one. And I think for the next one, I want those defense tokens aren't bad, but I think I'm going to take a this is a battle flow. So you can pick any one section and battle flow those cards. So we're going to take one of those. And it says that we gain an Apex Predator. So we gain an empower at the start of every encounter. I forgot that. So the Warbear gains one of these at the start of every encounter. Got to pay attention to your special abilities, right? So we're going to add another one of those to her as well. So I think her turn's over. We only have 1 Animus token. I don't want to spend any more. If we're keeping track at home, there's 1 blank for red, 1 blank for yellow, 2 for white. There's a lot of blanks in this deck. One thing I liked about Gloomhaven is you improve those decks as you level up. These decks don't improve. I almost would rather roll dice, I think. I don't know. I mean, I guess it just seems like there's a lot of misses in these decks. Okay. We want to spend our 0 card. Always spend your 0 card, folks. Hope that's not the 0 card. Because you get it back. You get it back every round. So we have 1. So we can battle flow 1 card. We don't have enough to do anything else, so we're going to do exactly that. We'll battle flow 1 card, and so I'm going to take I could take the toss card and battle flow it to here, but I'm actually going to battle flow this one to there, so that way we get both of these cards back next round. All right, let's keep going. We missed. So we're going to go ahead and do the Penitent now, who's also facing the same die that the Warbear was. Let's see if we can get better luck. So we have a, obviously we want to play that card. We have a guard. This is a reaction that would let us guard somebody who's being attacked. So we'll just hold on to that. Another reaction that we'll hold on to. This is more whenever the rats start swarming us. We have a taunt. So you can see there's a lot of reactions with this one. So now we're getting into the higher level stuff. We have knockback 3. Treat this as an arm attack, but gain a black for each shield or each defense your shield has. If the target collides with anything, we gain an Animus. Does not require a shield, but obviously if you have a shield, you gain the black tokens. It's considered an unarmed attack. This one, select an adjacent friendly character, perform a basic check. This actually heals people. So that's why I chose this guy, because he can heal people. All right, so now we do have some here, like this one is +2 damage, but it costs 3. So instead of doing the taunt, I think we're going to do that one. I do like the knockback one. Let me pause real quick. I'm going to look up what knockback does specifically, and if I can knock back a big character like the Broodmother. I think I can. And there was something else about the knockback. I had a question. I want to make sure... I want to make sure that unarmed, like I don't know what that means, but I just want to make sure that there's no special rules for that. So 1 second. Okay, that was a pause worth doing. So 2 things. The first one is the knockback is actually a lot cooler than I thought it was. I can knock back the giant rat. And if I knock him back into the tree, which I would because the Penitent is right here, and he's going to knock him back in that direction, he's going to destroy the tree and take a 1 hit point loss. I mean, the dice has 6 on it, so 1 is not that big of a deal, but it's still something. But the more important thing is it's going to kill any of those little rats because it's going to do 1 damage to anything that it hits. And so whatever it hits takes damage, and he also takes damage. So each of those little rats are going to cause 1 hit point of damage to him as well. So that's something I think that we want to do. So we have 6 of these Animus gems, and I think I want to do both if I can. So I'm thinking of doing the this with +2 damage, which would cost me 3 of my 6 gems. And then I want to do a shield bash, which would cost me 3 more. So that'd be all 6 of my gems. But I would get to attack it in the front, and then I would attack it again with knockback. That's my plan. And then for my 0 card, I could do a battle flow, but I would need 1 more gem. I'm actually going to be out of gems, so I may not play this. I could use my Animus token to get 2 of these. And maybe I should. So we'll think about that as we go here. Yeah, I like the plan. So we're going to do this one here, where we're going to attack with +2 damage. And so that's going to cost 3 of our gems. Oh, and then I forgot to mention, unarmed. All unarmed means is you don't get to use the ability on your weapon. Because you're using your shield instead. So the weapon ability can't be used, and just so you know, if you do use your weapon ability, it goes into the empower. It goes into the 3 spot. It doesn't mean the weapon's gone. It just means you can't use that ability again until you get the card back. Everything else that the weapon does for you stays. This just represents that the ability is on a cooldown. So this one, if you gain critical, add 1 damage and 1 knockback. So that's interesting because the knockback we may not want, just because I was planning on doing another knockback attack, but we'll see. We may not critical this at all. And you don't have to apply the weapon because it's your choice when you want it to go into the pool. To refresh, I mean. So, we're doing this one first. We're going to get +2 damage. We have no ability, so it's all white cards. So, how do we want to do this? We can roll dice. The white still has some good criticals in it. I'm going to draw 4 white cards. I'm going to draw 2 white cards, and then we're going to use the Empower ability. So I'm just going to place that here because we could potentially get it back. And so that lets me Empower 3. So I'm going to take 1 white card and empower it to a red card. So that's 2 levels of empowerment. And in another white card, we're going to empower to a yellow. So we're going to do it that way. So this was 2 of the empowerment, and that was 1. So we're going to do 4 cards like that. So let's reveal. There's a miss, a 1, and a crit. 4. That's excellent. So the crit means we get to draw another red, or we can just roll a red die. That's interesting. I'm actually going to roll the die. I like doing that whenever I crit. Actually, if you know that the blanks are missing from the deck, then you're better off drawing from the deck. But I'm going to go ahead and roll the dice. Let's see. And we rolled a 2. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 8 divided by 2 is 4 damage. So this 6 goes down to a 2. I'm very happy with that. This token goes away. And we're going to go ahead and just put that dice in the dice graveyard here. And you're always allowed to look at your discard to see how many blanks have been used up. The fact that this is the ideal thing is you want to use them one at a time, so that way you're getting them out of the deck. And that is this action right here, which goes into the 2 refresh, which is up here. And then we're going to do the knockback one. Now, I could have used my weapon ability, right? So then I don't have to use this card. I could have done this that adds 1 damage and 1 knockback. So the 1 damage would have done nothing because it's divided by 2, and we had exactly 8. So this would have turned it into a 9. Now the knockback would have done everything that we said, because it's going to move it back 1 space. He's going to, it would hit the tree, and it would, so like it would go this way, right? So if I move this tree out of the way, it would go right here, and you can see that it's going to be sitting on top of this rat and that rat. So it would kill 2 of the rats and the tree. I definitely like that. Because here's the other thing. If I destroy, I moved the wrong die. This is down to a 2. If I destroy this by doing this attack, there is a rule. When you break a die, the rest of what happens, the knockback, for example, gets canceled. Because it's going to be so angry that I destroyed one of the dice that it's going to interrupt and attack me, and then the rest of the card that affects the enemy is not applied. Now, anything that affects me, like that benefits me, would be applied. So the whole knockback thing wouldn't happen if I destroy this, and I did not consider that. So I'm going to actually use my weapon, and it has a 3 on it, so we're going to go ahead and put that there. We're going to apply 1 extra damage, which does nothing, but we're going to do the knockback, just like we said. So this tree gets destroyed, and that does 1 damage, and then we're going to kill both of these rats, because they get 1 damage each. And the way the rule is written is they do 1 damage to each other. So this was here, and now it's going to move 1 space that way to there. All right, so what happens then is everything that it hits, it does 1 damage to, and then everything that it did damage to does 1 damage back. So since it hit 3 things, this 6 in the rear, well, technically, this is actually going to go down to a 2. The rear goes down to a 2, and then this side is going to go down to a 5. Because one of them was in the flank, and the other 2, you know what? No, all 3 of them were in the rear. So 6, this goes to a 3. My apologies. All right. So that's good, because we got rid of a lot of the swarm as well. Now, the issue here is the rat is 1 space away, and I don't have any range attack. So there's nothing for me to range here. But we will go ahead and at least do our 0 card. And I think we're going to battle flow 1 card. And so I'm going to go ahead and put it in our 0. It does cost us 1 gem. And which battle flow do we want to do? Well, it's just 2 choices here. It's either the taunt or the cudgel. We could battle flow the cudgel, but yeah, we'll go ahead and do that. We'll battle flow the cudgel, and there you go. So I think that's his turn, and we'll call that. So we got 1 more left. We have Andrew here, who has the Harbinger. Now, the Harbinger is an interesting character. So obviously you have your 0 card. We have an attack, but if it's from the rear, the attack is empowered ×5. If it breaks a location, we battle flow 1 card twice. So really, really awesome, but you have to be behind the character. Here, attack. Before the attack, predict whether it will miss or hit. If you're correct and it hits, it adds 2 damage. If you're correct and it misses, you gain a redraw. So you could just predict that it's going to miss, and if you do miss, then you get a free redraw on the attack. It's pretty interesting. This one, when a friendly character is about to lose a health, you may select another friendly character to lose the same amount of health instead, so you can distribute the health loss. But we could use it for the move 3, which I think we may need to do here. Prophetic Fulfillment, choose a character, place a die on their player board showing their current health. When you play this card again, if that character has less health than what's shown on the die, they gain a health back. They basically heal. Remove the die and choose a character as before. So basically you're always putting another die out. So this is a constant healing once you get it going, right? So you put it out there, and then it could heal somebody, and then when you play the card again, it's going to heal them, and then you get to put the die somewhere else, all in one action. So you have to play the card twice before it does anything. Or you could just attack. Deadeye Shot. So this is after a non-adjacent enemy within range 3 draws damage. Remove one of the enemy's might cards. So we could make it so, they do less damage. Or we can do a range 3 unarmed attack that costs 2. We're more than range 3, so that's not really going to help us. Target an adjacent character and draw yellow. Before revealing it, guess whether it will show blank or a number. If you guess blank and are correct, you get to redraw the yellow. If you guess a number and are correct, add 2 to the result. Knock back the target equal to the result. So I think it's interesting. The only thing that's tricky about this one is he's more of a melee cloth user. So that means he's going to be squishy. But I do like the healing. I think in some, I'm starting to think, man, I should have taken the witch instead. But I do think there's some interesting cards here with the whole prediction thing. So what do I want to do though? Getting behind that rat is not going to be easy. There's a lot of movement points we're going to have to spend. 1, 2, 3, 4 just to get to the rat. We can spend our, gems to do movement. I think we want to do the move 3. This one. So this costs 1 gem, and we get to move 3 spaces. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And it goes on to the 2 for refresh. So 1 gem, and we're going to move 3 spaces. 1, 2, and I'm going to move over here for 3. We're going to spread out a little bit. Okay, so I'm still not near him, but I am 1, 2, 3 spaces away from being able to attack the flank. And I keep making a mistake, folks. Since it's facing us, I'm going to turn it around like this. Because when I do that, you'll see the mistake I made. This should be a 1, and this is still a 6. There we go. So that's the front, and then that's the left side. So I applied the damage to the wrong flank. So we're 3 spaces away from this flank. We're also 3 spaces away from the front. And the cool thing is this is what happens if you break the die and he doesn't attack you. So I want to break a die if I can. So let me think about, is there a way I can get an attack in that's at range 3? And I thought there was. Right here, unarmed range 3. So Then right here, he has a staff. His staff says, when you use an ability with the range keyword, add 2 range to the ability. Also, I forgot, looking at special abilities here, the Penitent, for each health you lose, including during the story, gain an Empower token. So we're going to give him another Empower token. The special ability for Andrew is, once per encounter, you may move any distance for free without moving through intervening hexes. So you can just teleport once per encounter. I'm tempted to use that now, and then we can get behind him and get in the rear and take this die out. That's my thought. Although the rats are always behind him, so knocking him back into the rats is always a thing. How do I want to do this? My problem is if I teleport her up, or Andrew up, he's going to get trounced. Also, if I do that, I don't need to use the move card. So I can take that card back. So I'm going to at least do that much. We're going to do the teleport, the once per thing, and I don't know how to represent that. They don't give you tokens, so I'm just going to go grab a cube, or I'm going to grab like this timer marker, and I'm just going to put it over his special ability to show that we used it. Okay, just making sure I haven't forgotten anybody else's special ability. All right. So that gets an instant teleport, and I'm going to teleport to here. I want to destroy one of these dice. I am tempted to go behind and hit that die, but I think I'm going to go to the flank. And my logic is he has a defend card that can help defend Andrew. So we're going to go to the flank. We're going to attack this side. We only need to do 1 damage. So the 1 damage attack, we don't need to do the range. This is unarmed. We could, if we guess the number correctly, we can add 2 to the result and knock back the target equal to the result. This is sort of silly. You got to guess perfectly. And the yellow can have multiple numbers. Ugh, I don't like this one. So this one we're probably going to just use as an unarmed attack, which I may do. Let's look. The backstab. Oh, that's right. We need to be behind him to be able to do the backstab. I do want to do that one at some point, but let's not do that right now. We could do this one. We can add 2 damage to the attack. We're going to go ahead and do this one. This is going to cost 3. So, spending 3, he has 4 left. And yeah, we're going to do that one. And so we get to predict whether it will miss or hit before using redraw tokens. If we're correct, we add 2 damage to attack. If we're correct and it misses, we get to redraw. I'm going to predict a miss because I want the redraw. And we get a yellow because we have 1 yellow might. And I'm going to go ahead and do an empower. Should I? There's only one pip. No, we're not going to do the empower. So I'm going to do a yellow, and then we're going to just draw 3 whites. So we're going to do it this way, and I'm going to predict that we're going to miss. So there's a miss. Oh, we never missed. So it's okay. We did 2, 4, 5, and then we get to crit, and that's 6. So 6 divided by 2 is 3. We do 3 damage, but he only had 1, and it doesn't spill over. So all we needed to do was this 1 damage. And so we broke his flank. And so what does that mean? Well, first thing that happens is the rest of the card is ignored except for any benefits to yourself, or any benefits to yourself. So, but anything that would impact the enemy is ignored. And so let's put this card away. And then what happens is the Broodmother is angry because we knocked off one of the dice, and then this happens immediately. So she's going to release the brood with 1 extra rat. And release the brood is normally places 3. She's going to place 4 rats on the board. And that's problematic. The rats always pop out of her rear. So we got 1, 2, 3, and then remember north and then west. So 4. The 4th rat is going to go there. And my cord is snagging here. There we go. All right, so they're all behind her there. And then what else? She's going to move 3 to the northwest. And then every rat's going to get an extra might card, whatever their highest might is. And then we're just going to place this here to remind us of that. And so she moves 3. So she's going to go 1, 2, 3. And then these guys are going to just move out of the way. And so will we. So 1, 2, 3. And we all get pushed out of the way. We're going to get pushed here. Because remember, it's northwest rule. And then these guys are all going to get pushed up and over. So that one's way over there. Oh, my apologies. So this rat is way over here. And then those 2 are there. So these miniatures are too big. I actually think it would be better if I just had cardboard tokens. Because you can see the board and plan it better. I know that sounds crazy. That's blasphemy. I get it. But that's... All right. So, and yeah, those rats over on the right, they weren't infected. So remember, the rats got pushed north first and then west. So that's what we did. Some of those rats would have gone off the board. So that's the reason why they got pushed further west than north. And when they move like this, it is a push. It is not a knockback or anything like that. It's a friendly push. Everybody just makes way. And yeah, that's until the end of the round. So then what happens is we're going to draw another one. Because remember, the Broodmother still gets to attack on the encounter phase. And this time it's the acidic maw. And they're going to release the brood again. And then they're going to attack the target. But see those little teeth? If those teeth are exposed, which is this one, if we would have broken that die, that means that the rat would have actually suffered from the break and would have drawn 1 less of these. So this red card would not be drawn. But that's not the case because we failed to. Then the character loses 1 defense for each health lost. This lasts for the rest of the encounter. That's horrible. All right, so the encourage is done because we broke the die. We actually made a worse one come out. And unless, now here's the thing. When they pushed me out of the way, Andrew is now in front of the rat. So we can attack again. And if I do 2 damage to this thing, I cause this attack to be less effective. And I'm very tempted to do that. So let me look at the cards. I'm going to pause real quick, make a bio break, get a coffee, and look at the cards, and I will have a plan when we get back. Okay, I am back, and I actually have 2 things that I'm looking at here. I got this wing slam, which is an unarmed attack, or I have this. So I'm going to play this first. We're going to spend 2, and we're going to do this effect. So that means somebody gets to heal. And that's going to go into our 3 spot, which is over there. And it's going to cost, the 3 spot for Andrew. That's going to cost him 2. And see, that guy only has 4 health, so I'm thinking, you know, do I want to heal the Huntress? But the Huntress is far away. I'm actually going to put it on himself. And so I don't know what die I'm supposed to be using here. So let's go with, let's take one of these dice, which aren't, you know, a hit point die. And we're going to just go ahead and put it right on top of the hit points, just as a reminder. So that's himself, because he's going to get attacked. Big time. So we're going to put it on himself, so in case he takes damage, we can, you know, deal with stuff. All right, so that's prophetic fulfillment. It's one of the 3s, so it's going to go there. And then we're going to spend 2 more gems and do the wing slam, except I don't want to do this nonsense where I have to predict things. I looked at the deck. There's a blank 1, 2, and 3. That's 4 choices. I'm never going to get that right. So I'm going to do unarmed. And that means, this just means I can't use the yellow dice. I do have an empower though. So I think I do want to use that, and I'm attacking the front here. So I want to break this die. So I just need to do 4 damage with that empower to be able to hit this thing. I do have 2 rerolls. So I'm going to try that. And so here's the thing. I'm looking at the yellow deck here. There's been 1 blank drawn, and we've drawn 2 3s, 3 3s, a 1 and a 2. What is the distribution? Is it 6 of everything? I think it is. So here, we'll just look. So there's 1, yeah, so 3, 4, 5, 6. There's 2 more 3s. There's a whole bunch of blanks, some 1s, some 2s. But see, look, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 blanks still in this deck. So, of course, I have to shuffle now. So I don't know which one I'm going to get. I'm tempted to just roll dice, is where I'm going with this. So, at least for the yellow, because I feel like we got... And then I'm going to have to use a 0 card to refresh these might decks. So I think I'm going to do that. We're going to roll... remember, this is an unarmed attack, but I get to empower it. 3. So I could go straight up to a black die. Should I do that? Yeah, I'm going to do that. Let's draw a black, see what happens. And then I'm going to draw 2 whites to round it out. So I don't know what the values are on a black. It's either a 3, a blank, a 4, or a 5. Those are excellent. So I need to do 4 damage. Those whites could be 1s. If that black is a blank, I'm screwed. And remember, if you don't do enough damage to hit, that does not trigger determination. Determination is if you miss with 2 blanks. So you gotta be careful. I definitely want this thing to hit. So is this enough? I'm contemplating, do I draw a 3rd white? Yes, I will. I'm going to draw a 3rd. So if that's 1 damage each, I'm still screwed. This needs to not be blank. If this is blank, that's what hurts me. Yeah, we're going to do this. All right, so let's draw these ones. So we got a crit. That's excellent. So now we just don't need 2 blanks. And we got 2 blanks. So that's a miss. However, I have a redraw. So which one do I want to redraw? I don't want to redraw the white. I want to redraw the black. So let's draw another black. And there we go. We got more than enough damage. And we got crits to boot. So these would get rolled. And we just did 4. And then we got another crit. Holy crap. We just did a massive amount of damage. Another crit. So it doesn't matter. There's only 2 pips on this thing. But just for posterity, 5, 7, 9, 11, 13, 17 divided by 2. So we just did 8 damage to this thing. We only needed to do 2, so that is broken. All right, so everything else goes back. Well done, Andrew. And that's why you use the redraw tokens when you get those blanks like that. And then, of course, these are permanently gone. Oh, I put that in the wrong spot. Those empower tokens are nice. I am starting to appreciate them. And then, of course, this goes into the 1 spot. All right, so we just broke another die on the rat. So that triggers this to happen. But you can see here, stage 2 triggers when the broodmother loses 2 dice. So this does not happen. In fact, all of the stage 1 goes away. And that's one of the risky things about this. So now we just triggered stage 2. So these are allegedly worse. I didn't look at them. All I can tell you is that the one that was going to happen to us was which one? It was, I think, this one. Losing 1 defense for the rest of the encounter would stink. This attack meant that this red die would not be used. It would only be these ones. So from that perspective, we would have taken less damage, but the shield thing was horrible. I'm not saying that this is going to be any better, but we now progress to stage 2, which means we're going to draw and do one of these. It could be a lot worse. So let's find out. All right, maternal rage. So she's going to poop some more rats. So let's get my camera in here. So the amount of rats she poops is 3. There's 1 spot right back here. And then there's 2 more. And we're at the edge of the board, so there's nowhere for them to go. But it's north and west. So this is west here. And that's north and west way back there. So they're all way in the back. There's a lot of rats on the board right now. So that part's not good. She's going to move 7 to her target. She's right next to me, so she's not moving. She's attacking, and then she's going to use the teeth. We just exposed the teeth right here. So that means she's going to attack with a penalty. Then she's going to change target to the next closest enemy, and then move 4, and then attack that one. So that is not good. She's basically attacking twice. All right, so she pooped. She's not moving. She's going to attack Andrew. Now, Andrew has a defense of 2, and he's allowed to play a card from his deck. So he has like a level 3 card here, this one, that has remove one of the enemy's might cards, your choice. So he's going to use that as a reaction. And then he's going to play this one. 1 soul is going to add 2 defense to his value. And so we're going to do that. So that goes into the 2 spot. And he temporarily has 2 more defense added to. So he's now at 4 defense instead of 2. So that's one thing that we're going to do. The next thing we're going to do is the Penitent has a card called Guard. Before damage is drawn against a character within range 3, move 2. If you end adjacent to the character, they can use your item card's defense instead of their own against the damage. They continue to use item abilities and defense cards as usual. So what does that mean, to use your item card's defense? Well, that means Andrew gets to use the shield and the pig iron coat. So Andrew now has 4 defense, and then that card he just played added 2 more. So now Andrew's up to 6. And so we play this card, this guard card. It costs 0 to play as a reaction. And we're going to do exactly that, and it's going to go into the 1 spot. And that causes the Penitent to move up 2, which is also nice, because now he's in the fray and is going to be able to attack next round. The Penitent will also be the next target of an attack, but that's the whole point. That's the reason why I wanted another tank, is to do exactly that. Okay, so Andrew is at 6 defense right now, which means that he's going to lose 1 hit point for every 6 damage that this Broodmother does. Now, the Broodmother is damaged. The attack uses the little teeth, so that means that this is gone. And so we're only going to do these 4. So we have to draw from the monster deck, which is a new deck over here. It's not the same deck that we use. And so we're going to draw 1 red and 3 yellow. 1, 2, 3. Now, one thing to understand is this defense token is something that we use after we see the results. So we get to wait to decide if we want to use that. And that would increase Andrew's defense to 7 instead of 6. Now, the reason you wait is because maybe it makes no difference. I think once you're getting up into the 7 range, it probably does make a difference, but we're gonna definitely see how this turns out. The fact that he has 1 less of these red is really good. So let's go ahead and draw. So it's a 3, 6, 7. So exactly 7 damage, and then this. So that would cause him to lose 1 health. Now, Andrew's got one more trick up his sleeve. He has this, which costs 0. After a non-adjacent enemy within range 3 draws damage. He's adjacent, never mind. I was going to say we're going to remove the enemy's might. So he's at 6 defense. This thing drew 7 damage. So if he plays his defense token, he goes up to 7 defense. He's losing 1 hit point either way. So he's going from 6 down to 5. But here's the thing. I put the healing token on him. So if I ever can get this card cycled back around, I'll be able to heal back up 1 health. That was the whole point of that particular die. So it did its 1 damage, and it's done. So we're going to go ahead and discard these cards. And then we're not done. So now he's changing to the next closest enemy, which is the Penitent. And then he doesn't move at all, but he will change his orientation. And then he's going to attack the Penitent, and it's got the same penalty, right? And so we're going to go ahead and do that. So the rat does... Well, no, it actually doesn't change the orientation because the way the hexes work, there's no reason to spin. So the Penitent's now being attacked. And same deal. The Penitent has 4 armor, and the Penitent will play... so this is the heal card. Yeah, I'm going to play Intercession. So that's going to add 3 more armor to him. So he's up to 7. And then he also has a shield token that can make him go to 8. So once again, we're going to draw a red and 3 yellows. Like so. The red is a blank, a 1, a 3, and a blank. So this divided by 7 is a nothing burger. So no damage to the Penitent. This is the way you play, folks. I'm very happy. This is actually pretty cool mechanics. My only debate is whether I should be using cards or dice when I'm doing the attacking. This is very cool. I'm happy. I don't feel like I'm being pummeled. I do feel like I'm making progress. At the same time, this is getting tense. And we're moving to the encounter side. So that means that he's going to get to draw and attack again. And it also means that all those little rats are going to get to move and attack. And we're going to get swarmed. So this is the part where I think we're going to take our lumps. But we're at an hour and a half. So I'm going to end the video here. And we will continue after in the next video. So thanks for watching. As always, stay awesome.